Happy Thanksgiving, besties. Thanksgiving nightmare. Hey y'all, I just joined this today and saw a bunch of posts about food/holidays. Here's mine from last Thanksgiving. Some background. For the last update million years, mother-in-law has hosted Thanksgiving at my dearest husband's childhood home. Same people, same food, same people cooking the same food. When dearest husband and I started dating, we would do Thanksgiving separately during the day, and then I would join him and his family at night for dessert/second dinner. Once we got engaged, we would do daytime/first dinner at my parents', then head on over to his parents'. Mother-in-law and father-in-law sold their house last fall, so dearest husband and I, as owners of the now largest house of his family, decided we would offer to host Thanksgiving. We both love to cook, had been waiting to take over a holiday since we bought our new house, and thought this would be the perfect opportunity. I have no idea what to expect here, but I would assume there is a reason why you wrote a post on Reddit. So let's keep going. We also had just found out we were pregnant, and the timing of Thanksgiving was perfect to make the announcement to everyone. Very exciting news. Congratulations. Anyway, being that no one else in his family actually likes to cook and doesn't have as accommodating of space for 20 people, we didn't think securing our titles as hosts would be difficult. Well, you would have thought we told everyone we were having Thanksgiving on the Oregon Trail by the reactions we got. I'm fairly sure they thought they had to hike 6 hours on unpaved wooded trails and bring their own machetes to chop back the brush, before finally arriving at our hand-built hut that is held together by mud and spit. Very nice description. In reality, they need to take 2 major interstate highways, approximately 30 minutes, and then drive another 5 minutes once off the exit to get to our new construction house, which is around the corner from a ShopRite and a Chipotle. In other words, decidedly not in the boonies, backwoods, unsafe for human life area thing we live in. Finally, mother-in-law convinces the rest of the family to have Thanksgiving at our house. Dear husband and I are slightly annoyed, but excited. It's our first big holiday to host. We are looking forward to this new tradition we're creating, and we can't wait to share our news. Now, I don't know how everyone around here defines hosting an event, but as far as I can tell from my entire life experience, the host essentially planned the event. If you ask me, yes, that's how I would imagine it. Their husband shares this same view. Spoiler alert, mother-in-law does not. Oh no, I thought mother-in-law is gonna be the good guy since she convinced the family to come. We get started on planning the menu. We keep it pretty much the same as it's always been, with your usual standard Thanksgiving fare like turkey, stuffing, and sweet potatoes, while planning to do some upgrades. Fresh cranberry sauce, not the stuff from the can. We assign the cooking duties for mostly everything to ourselves, while grandmother-in-law can make her famous stuffing. We call mother-in-law to let her know what we are thinking. While grandmother-in-law and auntie-in-law we take care of the turkey, and other auntie-in-law needs to have her mashed potatoes, so she'll bring those. I always make the green bean casserole and corn bake, but you can make the sweet potatoes because I don't like the way auntie-in-law makes them. And by the way, you can make the cranberry sauce, but I'll also bring a can too because people like that. Okay. We sleep on this for a night and then realize the next morning that we've been chopped down from a 10+ dish menu to making one thing because mother-in-law doesn't like the typical preparation and one thing that she basically said no one wants to eat. It feels like we're being used as event place, not that we're actually hosting this holiday. Ding ding ding, that is exactly what's happening, bestie. Dear husband calls mother-in-law to tell her how we feel. We were eager to host and start this tradition of Thanksgiving at our house, and now we feel like we are not involved and simply just a venue rental. Drama ensues. Don't we know how long Thanksgiving has been celebrated just like this? And don't we know how hard it is that mother-in-law and father-in-law had to sell their house and how stressed out they have been about it? And really, we should stop being so ridiculous and over the top and making such a big deal about everything. Their husband is upset. More drama ensues. We canceled Thanksgiving and the baby announcement is added in as, by the way, you ruined this for us. I think this was the best you could do. There is no chance you can argue with these people. They are just set in so hardly with their own ways. So trying to bring in changes or own opinions, basically impossible. In the same time, I'm almost 100% sure they're gonna be super upset about the cancellation. I post a picture with an accidentally petty caption. 2 days later, father-in-law reaches out to dear husband to smooth things over. We agree to have Thanksgiving at our house, but we will not do anything but provide soda. That sounds like, at the end of the day, they got what they wanted. Thanksgiving arrives. I have never experienced a full Thanksgiving with dear husband's family, but it goes exactly how I imagine. Since no one enjoys it or is good at it, everyone is stressed out about cooking and there's too much going on in the kitchen. I sit in the living room and watch. This Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for open concept homes. I eventually decide this is too much for me and go to take a nap. And 30 minutes later, I wake up to the smell of smoke and chill in the air. Oh, brother, what did they do? Something in the oven started smoking and they had to open the front door to air the house out. Okay, I'm annoyed, but not mad. I go back to my watchful perch in the living room. Dear husband and I see mother-in-law, grandmother-in-law, and auntie-in-law trying to shove a couple of trays into the oven. I can tell they are trying to put too much in. Their husband goes to get a closer look and tells mother-in-law he thinks they've overfilled the oven. They are on the opposite side of the stove. Auntie-in-law comes between them to open the oven, and as mother-in-law telling dear husband, yet again, the stuff being so over the top, black smoke comes billowing out. Then come the flames. There are flames coming out of my oven. I stare and shake my head. Mother-in-law says it's not a big deal, it happens every Thanksgiving. I never seen anything like that in my entire life happening. So you can tell your mother-in-law that's not something normally happens in other family homes. But okay. Dear husband asks how the oven knows that today is a holiday. I wonder. We eventually eat. Mother-in-law cries at the table and no one looks like they are enjoying the food. It's disgusting. In fact, soggy green bean casserole, overcooked turkey, jarred gravy, and the freaking canned cranberry sauce jiggling on a plate. Mother-in-law leaves in a huff and Thanksgiving weekend goes by. There is no acknowledgement or apology for my poor oven, or that mother-in-law was rude to dear husband while he was trying to assist, or that any of this could have been avoided had we been able to just host Thanksgiving the way we wanted. I mean, you didn't think for real that they would acknowledge that. I don't know your in-laws, but I have a family too. And when I mention them the wrongdoing they did to me, they're like, oh, that never happened. So no, I wouldn't really expect apologies. Mother-in-law later tells us their husband was mean and I was so incredibly rude by not helping. It's our fault. We ruined Thanksgiving. Of course you did. I guess it wasn't good enough that you prepared an amazing menu. And after that you said you only gonna serve soda. So they got noticed what's gonna happen. We will be doing Thanksgiving alone this year. Amazing decision. There is not much to say here. All the things we actually expected happened. And I think you handled it with a lot of patience. Also, distancing a little bit will be good for your holiday season. Always makes me shake my head. It's okay for you to drive 30 minutes, but not them. Thanksgiving with you, dear husband, new nugget, and any friends will be your new tradition that you love. No drama, tidy kitchen, and no fires to put out. See what I did there? Yes, we did, Sofa Queen. Very smart. I think we can agree to disagree over cranberry sauce. One can fix the fresh kind and have the canned kind at the table too. Mother-in-law seemed to be the sole culprit for creating an unenjoyable Thanksgiving. I bet your other guests would have loved the Thanksgiving celebration you and dear husband envision. You have your own little family now and you guys can enjoy future Thanksgiving together. My wife, 28 female, and I, 31 male, had a bad Thanksgiving. How should we move forward? Don't make the same mistake next year. How do my wife, 28 female, and I, 31 male, move forward after a bad Thanksgiving? First, my wife and I have discussed moving from our current city to a different state. due to better work opportunities and an area with higher socioeconomic status. I'm not that close with my family, and my mom tends to worry and ask endless questions. So, with nothing set in stone yet, I told my wife there is no need to mention it to my family yet. Until we had a solid plan, because my mom would keep asking questions we don't have answers to until we move in 8 months or longer. My wife said, might as well do it now and get it over with. Well, it's your family, so your wife should listen what you ask. But I insisted that I would tell my family myself when I had information to tell them, and she agreed. My mom stayed for Thanksgiving and the day before. The rest of my family did not come. The day before Thanksgiving was good. I cooked some with my mom and took my mom to see some Christmas lights and to dinner. Thanksgiving Day was a mess. My mom wanted to watch the Thanksgiving Day parade, so I turned it on around 8 a.m. to watch it. My wife's parents called around 8:15 to say that they could not watch the parade and wanted to watch it after they got here at 12. My wife agreed and turned off the TV, saying, "We will watch it with my family. Nobody's watching it right now anyway." And she turns off a Yule log with music. At this point, my mom leaves the room to come to the kitchen to help me, where I could see the TV to watch with her. Then my wife is going around the house huffing and getting things together for her parents that she didn't bother to do before my mom came over. Then she started turning lights off if my mom went to another area other than the kitchen area with me. I don't really like your wife's behavior at this moment. Is she like this all the time? Or is she just stressed because of Thanksgiving? I can imagine how uncomfortable your mom must have felt. When her parents arrived, my mom and I were stuck warming all the dishes and setting the table. My wife wanted to pick where everyone sat, so she was in charge of that. And that is where the argument began. When my wife first discussed where we were going to sit, she placed me at the head of the table across from the end where the turkey was carved. When looking for an extra chair for me, she got a small ottoman to bring up. Her parents commented that it was too short. I commented that I would like a back to my chair. My wife said no, that is the only thing that will fit in the space. So I tried 2 other chairs which do not fit because the table had been moved closer to the window. My wife's mom said, let's just scoot the table a foot away from the window and it will be fine. So my wife says, no, the ottoman will be fine. Then she turns to me in front of her parents and my mom and says, stop being an ass. I wouldn't say that you were the ass in this situation. Your wife sounds like a handful. At that point, her mom leaves the table, my mom comes over to me and puts her hand on my shoulder, and my wife takes a chair I was trying to get to fit away and brings the ottoman back, saying, this is my spot anyway. Then she hits a leg of the chair against the wall and said with a smirk, oh no, we can't sell the house like this. What is her problem? She is acting unhinged. So I switched the subject back, saying, so now that's your spot, where am I sitting? So she looks and finds a seat at the other end of the table. So after a couple of minutes, my mother-in-law returns to the table and she leads grace. I carve the turkey and we eat. My mom and I sit in silence. My wife talking joyfully with her mom as if nothing happened. My wife did not tell my mother-in-law that we were not telling my family about moving yet, because my wife told her family already. So my mother-in-law talks about us moving with my wife in front of my mom. I feel so uncomfortable and I'm not even there. After the meal, my mother-in-law apologizes and I say to her that I told my wife that we are not telling my family yet. And she said that my wife had not mentioned that to her or my father-in-law. At that point, my wife comes in and smirks and said, oh well, she was going to find out eventually, might as well be today. So my mom, mother-in-law, and I clean up the dining room and kitchen while my wife sits with my father-in-law watching Home Alone. We never watched the parade until her parents left. Since my birthday is right after Thanksgiving, my wife suggested we celebrate the day of Thanksgiving. My wife had AI write me a song and she sang put her voice over the beat AI made, singing the lyrics AI wrote. Her parents gave me an AirTag. There was no cake. Instead, we ate pumpkin pie my mom made and pumpkin muffins I made the day before. When I visited my family on Monday, my mom made me a cake and I received 2 gifts. My mom was looking at me strange during this, but didn't say anything. After my in-laws left, I sat alone with my mom in silence, watching the parade. My wife was somewhere in the house, but I don't know where. When I took my mom home last night after the parade, she asked, "Where are you moving to? When are you moving? Why do you want to move further away?" The first two, I did not have an answer to yet. So I told my mom that I told my wife I didn't want to tell her or the rest of my family yet until we had plans set in stone, and my mom understood. But then she asks, "So why did your wife say something to begin with?" I replied, "Because she was mad that I didn't want to sit on the ottoman." At this point, my mom says, "That wasn't right. We were celebrating Christmas this year. You should stay with us." I said I would see what my wife's plans are, as she's planning a get-together with her family. When I dropped my mom off, she wanted me to come in and have a dessert with my dad and sister. I did, and when I did, there was a lot of whispering between my mom and dad. But they did not say anything to me except, "What do you want for Christmas? You should come and stay the night, a day or two." At this point, my mother-in-law thinks I'm mad at her. My mom is obviously worried about me and my relationship, and I feel like me and my mom were treated poorly yesterday, like we were second class to her and her family. I feel like that too. Your wife was extremely rude to you and your mom the whole day. If she behaves like this all the time, the smirking and calling your names in front of other people, I am not surprised that your mom is worried about you and your relationship. But I don't know what I can do about it. We have been married for 3 years. How should we move forward? I think you definitely need some counseling because the way she treats you, there is definitely some underlying issues. But all the details you gave in this post is not clear for us. One thing is clear though, she does not have much respect towards you. But we don't know why. It's definitely not coming off what is in the background from only this post. So the only thing I can say that you guys need better communication, and a counselor could help you with that. I feel like something has been missing here. Or does your wife always act vicious? Yeah, this is how I feel too. Context is missing, so we just cannot see through what's going on here. It is a bad idea to move further away from your family. They are obviously worried about you because your wife is vicious and cruel. Yeah, she was acting very weird in the story, but why? What is the reason? What is behind it? It makes zero sense to me to be this rude to my husband and my mother-in-law for no reason. She sounds controlling and like she's actively trying to take you from your family. Look very hard at this. Do you really want this for the rest of your life? It doesn't sound like you have kids. Don't procreate with this woman. I mean, this is harsh, but it's true. I saw some concerning things in the comment section of this post about OP mentioning physical hurt as well from his wife. So if it's really true, then you should run. Really, nobody deserves to be treated like this. I'm really sorry you are going through this, but I have to agree with the commenter who said you might don't want to go further from your family. I hope you can work this out very soon and we're gonna hear back from you. But we are going to move on to our last story. My 23 female boyfriend, 23 male of 1.5 years, dumped me the day before Thanksgiving and arguably the worst week of my life. How do I get over this? I don't really know why I'm posting on this thread. I guess I just need to release some pent-up emotions because I'm trying so hard to keep a straight face for my family this Thanksgiving. My ex and I were each other's first long-term relationship and we were very, very close. We truly told the world we find our soulmate and we are going to get married. Well, the past few months have been miserable. He started acting very, very differently. Started canceling plans with me all the time. We barely saw each other once a week sometimes. We both were picking fights all the time over little things. I'm sorry to say this, but when there are sudden changes and they are behaving differently towards you, that's tend to think they find someone else. I don't know if this is gonna come out in this post, but this is my suspicion. He couldn't get a real job other than his part-time working for our family and had no ambition to pursue his goals. He wanted to be a cop, got accepted into police department in CT, but didn't want to try to work out to take the physical test and bailed on it. Suddenly, he didn't want to talk about moving in together because he wasn't ready physically, but didn't want to put effort into chasing any dreams or pursuing other career options. I created his resumes, cover letters, helped him everything he could need. I think my nagging him to show up more for me and to be more ambitious pushed him away. My family was very poor growing up, still is. My mom is very sick, so I take care of everything in the home for her. I work in a blue-collar manual labor job that I probably stay until I retire, and I'm also in college full-time. I am maybe too ambitious because I grew up so poor that I'm terrified of ever being that broke again. What I understood so far is that you are annoyed that your boyfriend is not even working a full-time job. That is not something it's too much to ask. In today's world, you cannot go by a part-time job salary. So the bare minimum what your boyfriend could do is to have a full-time job. He came from a very rich family and was coddled his whole life. Him and all of his sisters avoid working as much as they can, and none of them have had a job working for anyone other than a rich uncle. He was super sweet and friendly, but very sensitive and never thought he could do wrong. In conflict, he would instantly play victim and never accept accountability. This man is definitely not ready for an adult relationship. Your guys' worldviews are very different too. I think breaking up now and not waste more time was the best thing that could happen to you. I can understand it hurts right now, but in the same time, now you have the opportunity to find someone who has the same values. So, OP, don't worry, let him go and move on. He tried to fix problems by taking me to an expensive restaurant or buying me a gift instead of just talking to me, which is all I ever wanted. This week, my dog got hit by a car, which put me in so much debt trying to save her life. I'm really sorry about your puppy. I also had to get a big surgery on Friday that I've been terrified of for weeks. My aunt also diagnosed with cancer an hour before he dumped me. It's been the worst week for me, so I told him I needed him. He refused to come over. He wouldn't tell me why. Part of me thinks there's a small chance he finds someone else. It's just too weird to cancel on you all the time and seeing each other only once a week after 1.5 years. I am so heartbroken. I never had a breakup this intense. I feel so embarrassed that I told the world I found my soulmate. You shouldn't feel embarrassed. That is so normal to do when people are in love. Having to delete all of our pictures online hurts so bad. Maybe he just wasn't ready for the level of seriousness that he thought he was. Or maybe I pushed him away by asking him to try harder when he wasn't ready to. Maybe we were just incompatible. I don't know how I'm going to make it through the day without crying. I have to be strong for my family because we are all very emotional about my dog and my aunt's condition. Not to mention my surgery on Friday. To be honest, the pain of the breakup makes the fear of the surgery feel like a piece of cake. I don't know what to feel, how to move on, etc. It's easy to give advice, but I can't seem to take any of my own advice during all of this. He dumped me over text. Couldn't even call or meet me. He'd done me before, but it was always a test to see if I chase after him. That is disgusting. You should never chase after anyone. If they want to go, the door is open. But this time, the text felt like it was written by AI or maybe someone else helped him write it. It was so generic and unspecific. I just wish he would have waited until after Thanksgiving. I can't believe after being my absolute best friend for 1.5 years, he would just abandon me during the hardest week of my year. I have a hard time believing he loved me more than he loved himself. Thank you for listening to my rant. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I am forcing myself to stay alone for a while and not immediately look for a rebound like I used to do when I was younger. Maybe I can actually grow as a person from this experience. I pray that God will guide me to happiness again. I understand you are in a hard situation, but you are so young. Good things will come and you will find your real soulmate. He definitely wasn't the one. He's an idiot who plays childish games. You better off without him. Honestly, OP, I feel like you dodged a bullet. Since this was last year, I hope this Thanksgiving turned out for you so much better. That's all for our Thanksgiving special episode. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and see you in the next one.